Okay everyone, I wanted to make this video to explain to you some small, easy to find pieces of equipment that I think are really going to help you with your home workouts. So these are pieces of equipment that I use in my online studio, and they are also really common pieces of equipment for many online workouts. They're quite affordable, they're small, so they shouldn't take up too much space in your home or your office or wherever you're going to be doing your training. And I think it's really important that if possible, you dedicate a space in your house or your office for your training. Even if you don't have much room, these pieces of equipment are really easy to just shove aside to the wall, and then they're ready to roll out so that you can get going. I think having this space is going to be a really important thing for you to keep you motivated, so that you don't have to, go searching for these pieces of equipment all over your house every time that you want to train. Have them either set up ready to go or just ready to roll out and ready to go. The most essential piece of equipment is a yoga mat, in my opinion. It's just going to make everything a little bit more comfortable for you, especially with all our body weight, ground-based movements. So I really enjoy training on a cork yoga mat. The benefit of the cork mat is that when you start to sweat, the cork becomes really grippy. One of the most common complaints I hear about yoga mats is that they're slippery, especially when people start to sweat. So the cork yoga mat will help you with this. Other than the cork mat, I enjoy just a rubber mat as well. They do come in different, brands and varieties. Generally, the more expensive, the higher quality mat you'll have. So find something that's within your budget, but I do think it's really important to invest in a good yoga mat. Lululemon have some great ones. Another favorite brand of mine is Manduka. Their little logo is this little frog, and I find these really grippy, also really soft, and they're also quite lightweight. The cork yoga mat tend to be a little heavier. So if you're going to be traveling to the park, for example, to do your session, you might want to invest in something a little bit lighter. Likewise, if you do a lot of travel for work or otherwise, you might want to invest in something a little bit lighter. So these are a few little considerations to take into account when you're investing in your yoga mat. The second piece of equipment that I think is really, really great to have are yoga blocks. 2 yoga blocks. These do not need to be expensive or anything like that. You can find them in sports stores or department stores. They really just bring the ground closer to you. They're going to help you, especially if you have mobility issues. For example, if you're doing yoga and you have trouble touching your toes, putting the yoga blocks here underneath your hands brings the floor closer to you. So you're able to do some of the poses that you might not be able to do or really struggle with if you didn't have those blocks there to help you. All right. Another great piece of equipment is a yoga strap. It's basically just a long strap, so it doesn't technically need to be a yoga strap. A dressing gown belt is also a great alternative, and I find this is really useful for stretching, especially some nice shoulder stretches. Office chair yoga, I like to use the yoga strap in a lot. So either invest in a yoga strap or just find something similar like a belt, even a leather belt from your pants, or your dressing gown belt, or even a towel. Totally fine options. This Pilates mini ball is one of my most favorite pieces of equipment, and pretty much all of the students who come and see me for training end up purchasing one for themselves because they love it so much. It is a really versatile piece of equipment, and one of the best things about it is it deflates. So it's really easy to blow up and to deflate. So once again, if you do a lot of travel for work or holidays, etc., literally it can go in your suitcase, it weighs nothing. Just deflate it, and then you can blow it up with a straw or even just with your mouth once you get to your destination. It's great for core work. It's also great just to lay back on, opening up your chest. It's a really, really great piece of equipment. I also do a lot of glute and hamstring work with this ball, so highly recommend. Some hand weights. In the training that I do online, I generally don't throw around heavy weights. So weights between 1 to 2 kilograms is totally fine. You need one for each hand because I do quite fast-paced movements in bar and in mat Pilates. Yeah, I wouldn't go any heavier than 2 kilograms in each hand, even if you are really strong. Yeah, just keeping to that 2 kilos because the work we do is more about muscular control than strength, okay? So it's all about finding that control and correct placement of the body. As well as hand weights, ankle weights are a total game changer when it comes to your mat-based workouts, your body weight workouts. They add just that extra element of intensity and resistance, especially if you've been doing mat-based training for a while and it's starting to feel a little easy, your body is adapted, then it's time to add on some ankle weights. The ankle weights do not need to be heavy. These are 1 kilo each, and I'm finding that they're plenty for me at the moment. They're just Velcro, and they go around your ankle like this. You can even wear them around your wrists as well. And you can even wear these, say if you're going for a walk, either around your wrists or your ankles to add a little bit of extra intensity as well as you go. So highly recommend the ankle weights. A lot of my members are loving them at the moment to add that extra burn into their sessions. Okay, resistance bands. Also great for working your glutes and hamstrings. You can also use them for upper body and for stretching as well. They come in different resistances. I prefer the fabric kind of bands like these ones as opposed to the rubber ones, but you can totally get the rubber ones as well. Generally the rubber ones might tend to roll up on you as you're training, so that's where the fabric ones are a little bit better, I suppose, in that regard. They come in different resistances. You can often buy packs with different resistances in there. You want to start with a light one and then work your way up to heavier ones as you go. There's also some brands that have rubber on the inside, which really stops that rolling up from happening, which is great. So once again, up to your budget and up to you on the kind of resistance band that you invest in. For restorative yoga practices and meditation, I really recommend that you find a cushion from around your house, perhaps something that's really nice just to sit on. It doesn't need to be a huge pillow, but just something around this size and shape, square or circle, doesn't really matter. It just makes stretching a little bit easier and helps you get into those restorative yoga positions a lot more. If you do have a higher budget and more space, definitely invest in a specific yoga bolster. I love my yoga bolster. Once again, it just makes restorative yoga that much more restorative because you can really allow your body to release and surrender into the bolster. Kettlebell. For your more resistance training at home, in my Working with Steph online studio, we now do kettlebell training as well. I wouldn't recommend anything heavier than say 10 kilos, especially if you're a beginner. You want to go from about, I don't know, start at about 6 to 8 kilos with your kettlebell, and then as you get stronger, you can move up to 10, perhaps 12 if you're a male, and see how you go with that. So you can buy these, you know, from sports stores, department stores, online. All right, guys, it doesn't really matter if it's plastic, by the way. This one's a plastic one. You can also get those metal ones. It's totally personal preference. It doesn't matter which. The final piece of equipment that I use in my online workouts is a bar, like a ballet bar. Now, I know that most of you aren't going to have access to a ballet bar at home, so just finding a chair or a table of about slightly higher than your hip height is absolutely perfect. And if you don't have that, all you need to use is a wall. So you're leaning against a wall and just using that for a little bit of extra balance and support for your bar training. I hope that's helpful, guys. Like I said, these pieces of equipment aren't essential, but I do think that they are really helpful in your online training, your training at home. They're small pieces of equipment. They really don't take up that much space. Most essential piece of equipment though is of course your yoga mat. So if you're gonna splurge and invest in anything, first step is a good quality yoga mat. Thanks, guys.